The secret invasion has begun, and the question hanging in the air is, who can you trust? Me. I'm not a Skrull, I swear. Anyway, since a lot of the new characters for this series are MCU original, I'm gonna cover the secret invasion itself this week. More or less. The main story, at least. This event had tie-ins at the wazoo, and if I delved into the whole thing, I'd still be talking about it by the time the series finale came out. Some background info. Marvel's Civil War had happened not too long ago, with Iron Man's pro-registration side coming out on top, so all superheroes have to register their identities with the government or be branded fugitives. Or something. They were never really 100% clear on what the terms were. Anyways, Iron Man's running S.H.I.E.L.D., there's an underground team of illegal new Avengers running around, Norman Osborn is controlling the Thunderbolts, and Steve Rogers is dead. Except he's not, but we didn't know that yet. On a mission to Japan, the new Avengers encounter Elektra, currently working for the Hand. She's killed by Echo, but to everyone's surprise, it turns out she was actually a Skrull, having fooled even Wolverine's senses. Spider-Woman goes rogue and brings the body to Tony Stark, who's horrified to discover that the Skrulls have figured out a completely undetectable method of infiltration. Magic can't find them, tech can't find them, super senses can't find them, telepathy can't find them. And to make matters worse, a Skrull pod has crashed down in the Savage Land, so he leaves Hank Pym and Mr. Fantastic with the dead Elektra Skrull and assembles the mighty Avengers to investigate. Only for Spider-Woman to tip off the new Avengers, so they show up as well. A tense standoff ensues in which Luke Cage implies that Tony is a Skrull, only for the pod to open on its own. And a bunch of Earth heroes come spilling out. Some already present as part of the investigating teams, some already accounted for elsewhere on Earth, and some, like Mockingbird, thought to be dead. And then things get crazy. Hank Pym is a Skrull and turns Mr. Fantastic into Silly String, he gets better. Dum-Dum Dugan is a Skrull and blows up Sword's base. The Baxter Building, home of the Fantastic Four, gets trapped in the negative zone thanks to a Skrull posing as the Invisible Woman, and a Skrull pretending to be Captain Marvel attacks Norman Osborn, but flies off in a tizzy because his programming was faulty. A bunch of Super Skrulls descend on Manhattan where some recruits for the Avengers Initiative, the also illegal Young Avengers, and Nick Fury's super illegal Secret Warriors try to fight them off, but they all end up being either killed or having to fall back. A big fight breaks out in Savage Land, and it turns out Spider-Woman was actually the Skrull Queen Veronica, who tries to convince Iron Man that he is also a Skrull sleeper agent, and then runs away. Mr. Fantastic escapes his confinement with help from Abigail Brand, Super Science is a way to detect the undetectable Skrulls, and meets up with everyone in the Savage Land, revealing that all the heroes in the Skrull pod were actually Skrulls. Surprise, surprise. So everyone heads back to New York and another giant fight breaks out in Central Park, where the Skrulls have to contend with the Mighty Avengers, the New Avengers, the Young Avengers, the Secret Warriors, the Thunderbolts, a very angry Mr. Fantastic, Thor, Captain America, it's Bucky, and a bunch of supervillains rallied by the Hood, who is currently running organized crime. The Skrulls make one last play and try to use the Wasp as a living bomb, but Thor stops it, seemingly killing Wasp in the process. She ended up in the Microverse, barely anybody actually dies in this event. Norman Osborn gets the kill shot on the Skrull Queen, and to everyone's surprise, a recovered Skrull ship reveals that everyone who was secretly a Skrull was alive and being held captive for their DNA, and as potential bargaining chips. Happy ending, right? Well, no. Thanks to a perceived absolute bungling of Earth's defenses by Iron Man and S.H.I.E.L.D., Norman Osborn is placed in charge of the USA superhuman community and the Avengers Initiative. This would lead to an entire year of Norman Osborn running the government known as Dark Reign, but that's a whole other story. Is any of this going to matter for the MCU? Probably not. I doubt Secret Invasion's budget accounted for a big giant slugfest in Central Park, and tonally it doesn't seem like that kind of story. But a little historical context is always nice, right?